cats are so incredible, and they're so fun, and they're so inquisitive, and they're so unique.
They're just complicated little creatures.
Cats are so weird, and they do weird things, and everybody loves it.
They have a language all their own, and once you figure it out, it's pretty amazing that these little wild creatures have basically domesticated themselves to live alongside people, because cats do what they want. They didn't become domesticated because we wanted them to. I have several cats. They were either strays that were found outside, or they had a problem that I could handle at home and treat and the previous owners couldn't, or they were just abandoned wherever I was working.
Ouch. We're done.
Andy was found outside. She was urinating around the house. She wasn't using the litter box very well. She didn't really get along with other cats, and she was a little cranky. She has some back pain. Her feet are sensitive. The two options that the woman was exploring, one was euthanasia, and two was just letting her outside, which, since she didn't have any claws, she doesn't really have a way to defend herself, so that wasn't a great option. I offered to take her and see what I could do. We did x-rays to make sure there wasn't any obvious orthopedic abnormality for the cause of it. So our nail grows from the skin on our finger, and a cat's nail grows from within that last bone. So they use that bone for balance, to extend the claws for protection. There's actually little scent glands in the feet too, so that act of scratching isn't just sharpening nails, it's scenting things, marking their territory. And so it's an integral part of their mobility and their ability to balance and their center of weight as well. So when I started working at a cat clinic in 2012, I felt I had never noticed any correlations really between the way the cats acted in the clinic and whether they were declawed or not, or what was going on there. So I had always worked with mostly dogs. We did see some cats at my previous practices, but just not enough to make any correlations. So I kind of, out of nowhere, was thinking, why are all these cats so angry? What is going on with all these cats? And I noticed, I just kind of put a tally on the wall, were they declawed or not, and what the problem was. And I was noticing that so many of my patients that I was seeing that were peeing out of the box, having behavioral problems, they were angry, biting, that type of thing, a lot of them were declawed. So I thought, well, maybe I need to track this a little better. At that point, I thought, until I can prove otherwise, I probably should not be doing this procedure. So I stopped doing it. I tried to do some research online. There really wasn't a lot of information in the literature. So that's when I got involved and decided to kind of help and provide more information and kind of start the research side of it, because that's what makes my mind up. I designed a study. It took several years. I don't even remember how many years it took to get all the cats. So we're comparing declawed and non-declawed cats, and we matched them for age to try to account for age-related arthritis and behavior changes and that type of thing. And what we found was that among all the declawed cats, they had a higher odds of not using the litter box well, of having more of a biting behavior when they felt threatened. Aggression was an issue, barbering, so pulling their hair out, was a problem, and back pain. So there's two different ways detailed in the literature on how to declaw a cat. So one is what's called a partial amputation, where they cut through the last bone, hoping to get the entire nail in the nail bed, but that leaves a large piece behind, a piece of bone. So that's one method. The other method is to completely disarticulate or amputate the last bone on each toe. The cats that received a partial amputation or had the P3 fragments or the bone fragments left behind were more likely to have aggressive behavior. The back pain, the odds of getting back pain were higher. The majority of those cats did have corrective surgery to remove the bone fragments. A lot of them improved, but definitely not all of them, and definitely not 100%. The general estimate at this point is that 25% of cats are declawed in our country. A lot of them don't understand what's done. They just think it's you cut the nail off and it doesn't grow back. So most people, when I speak to them about it, they're horrified that this is what the surgery is. I know. As far as her feet are concerned, she didn't have any bone fragments left behind, but she does not like her feet touched. She could not jump off of things onto the floor. We put her on some pain medications. She was involved in a clinical trial for chronic pain to see if that would help. That involved injections in her legs to help dull the chronic pain signals that go to the spinal cord. I think the most common reason that people get their cat declawed is the fear that the cat's going to be destructive, either to their furniture, to their home, to their things, basically. Some people also are afraid of getting scratched. In the short term, it sounds like an easy solution. The long-term issues with pain and, even their attitude changes, if they're more aggressive, if they bite more, those things can be more concerning than this just the destruction of a couch or some scratches on their skin. So the best thing and the easiest thing long term to do is to get them used to their feet being touched and to trim their nails. When you're petting them or you're playing with them, just gently touch their feet. You want it to be a good thing. You want it to be a happy thing. Push the paw pads to extend the toes to see them, see how they react. And then once they're used to their feet being touched, start with a nail trimmer and just trim the tip and do one and see how the cat responds. If they do great, do another one. But when they start to get distressed or they're scared, let them go and have a break. You might only get a couple toes at a time, but gradually getting them used to their feet being touched, their nails being trimmed when they're younger, that's the absolute best way to do that. The other option is our nail caps. It's an acrylic nail that goes over their nail with a little adhesive on it. And then you have to give them a place where they can scratch. So cardboard scratchers, the sisal rope scratchers. Some cats like wood, some like upright, some like horizontal. So giving them a place where they are able to scratch is really important because they're going to do it whether you give them a place or not. I really want people to know that they don't have to declaw their cats. The Paw Project was founded by Dr. Jennifer Conrad. The mission is to raise awareness about declawing, to teach people how we can live with cat claws harmoniously. Many veterinarians have kind of joined forces with her around the country to be points of contact for people for educational purposes. That's kind of the basis of the organization. It's veterinary run, and we can be contacted on the website no matter your state. We don't have a director in every single state, but definitely in many, where if you have questions, you have a cat that needs either to be evaluated or you have questions about a cat that is declawed or how you can help cats from avoiding being declawed, we are those points of contact. So reaching out to us with questions is the best way you can do that. We also are involved in community events around the country too, when we can have a booth and be set up to answer questions from the public. Other people can get involved with that as well to help us hand out information and spread the word.